YouTube. Welcome to my inspirational webinar on the UK Global Talent Visa. And today I'll be talking to Cem. I'll interview Cem today after I quickly introduce myself. Some of you I've already met and spoken to and maybe have worked with. So you'll know a little bit about myself already. I'll interview Cem and we can have a few questions with Cem if you have any. So please do put it on the chat or the Q&A, and then Cem will obviously have to go, and then I'll start my webinar about the UK Global Talent Visa. So that's the agenda for today. So just a quick little background about myself. I'm Vietnamese by background. I hold an Australian, British and Irish citizenship. And the British one is obviously by virtue of the Global Talent Visa. I am a Global Talent Visa coach, and only because in 2016 I went through the process myself, and then became the Tech Nation Visa Ambassador, because back then it was only 2 years old when I applied the visa and no one really knew anything about it. So they needed ambassadors to help share their story, help other people apply for the visa and learn more about it. The great thing about the visa, the Global Talent Visa, is you can apply for ILR, like a permanent residency and citizenship. So I applied for that in 2019 and received it straight away, just about. So it's a very easy process. I spent 7 years in the UK, based myself in Manchester and Newcastle, and travelled quite a bit down to London because I had a wearable tech startup which I was building. I used to be a solicitor from Australia and then became a tech entrepreneur, got bitten by the entrepreneurial bug and started my wearable tech company called Made with Glove. I don't do it anymore, obviously, because now I do this, the Global Talent Visa Stage 1 endorsement full time. But because I've been in the tech startup scene, I know the ecosystem, and also because I've been through this process, I know a lot about the Global Talent Visa endorsement process. I wrote a Tech Nation Visa blog after I received my visa and received loads of inquiries, and that blog went viral, which is how I started becoming a coach. Over, it's nearly 10 years now, 10-year anniversary this year. I've coached over 2,000 tech entrepreneurs, senior exec and tech employees. My average success rate is 90%, and some of my clients have received a result within 3 to 27 hours, which is a huge achievement. It doesn't happen anymore, but it did happen. The Tech Nation endorsement rate was 54%. It is now 40%, it has gone down. And of the 40%, 65% have been endorsed with exceptional talent and 35% have been endorsed with promise. During COVID, I had a 100% success rate for applicants from Nigeria, and from the summer last year, I had a 100% success rate, which is great. So my clients are varied. This is why I love what I do, from big tech companies to founders, startups, CTOs, MBA and PhD graduates from top UK universities who move from their graduate or student visas. And yeah, I love what I do because everyone has a different story to tell. And my job is to bring out those stories and focus on the achievements and strengths. A big part of the Global Talent Visa application is you need to showcase your leadership skills and to showcase you have national and international recognition in your field. And this is what I did with my application. I had loads of opportunities, not only with my startup, but also as an expert in the wearable tech industry. I was talking more about, the trends in the industry. So I had a lot of people wanting to know about what was going on in the industry. And my blog is on my website, so you can have a read about that. And that's what kickstarted everything. So last year and the last sort of 10 years that I've been helping everyone, I've not really met my clients face to face. So last year I hosted some alumni events with all my previous clients, and it was really great to actually see them face to face and to let them meet each other, because this is a very stressful process, and meeting other people after you've come out the other side is really important. So that leads me to my newest alumni, which is Cem Baytok, who has agreed to come on and share his inspirational story and talk a little bit about his journey and how he received his Global Talent Visa last summer. So welcome, Cem.
Hi, Michelle.
It was
Thanks
a
for
very quick intro.
joining.
I may have just scared you there.
Yeah,
Thank you so much
I,
for
I was
joining.
just looking at the picture.
I hope you like the
Istanbul
picture.
was very nice.
Yes, So from Istanbul now to London, you have moved, and it was such a great pleasure working with you because we did work over just a bit before the summer, and then obviously received it in the summer. So yeah, I'd love you to introduce yourself to our attendees and give us a little bit of about your background, please.
Sure. I'm Cem Baytok. I'm one of the co-founders of our venture capital firm, IDA Capital. Formerly, it was Turkey only investing venture capital funds. Over the last few years, we developed a strategy and transitioned into an emerging markets focused fund manager covering uh, a larger area, including Central Asia. Now we're looking at North Africa and Levant as well, and also UK because of the tech. It's a VC tech hub. And just about a year ago, we decided to move our HQ to UK as business. I mean, since business is going, the business owners should have gone as well. That's why we have chosen the global talent visa track. In addition to that, after COVID, I founded an, a fintech company in Turkey. I'm again a co-founder there. It is also a very successful fintech operation right now there, and starting from this year, it's going to be growing in other countries as well. But Turkey itself is a very, very big market.
Yeah.
So
So VC investor, you spoke at a lot of conferences about, obviously the fintech industry, impact, social impact, investing, and about your startup as well. And then, obviously you wanted to move your companies to the UK, and that's why you decided to go with the global talent visa. That was the most flexible option for you, also to bring your family over as well. So in deciding to apply for the global talent visa, what were your challenges and hesitations? Because you wore two hats, the investor hat and the founder hat, and the guidelines are quite, it doesn't really help with people who have lots of different backgrounds and what do you focus on and things like that. So yeah.
I mean, Michelle, prior to working together with you, we had reviewed and interviewed a few other uh, service providers or lawyers as well. Uh, I mean, since everyone is assuming that they are able to do that, they provided their offerings and they said they can do that job. And then we looked at the process was also seeming uh, that we can do on our own as well. But after a few interviews and after carefully reviewing the process and reading forums and learning about the good and bad experiences of the other people, we saw that uh, yes, possible learning by doing, and yes, possible we can do on our own. But in terms of probability, minimizing the risks, being right, we need to be working with a consultant or someone who can help us. And in that process, your skill set was more relevant to what it requires, because in my understanding, still I believe that it's not a legal thing. It's a process thing that
Mhm.
requires knowledge about the technician process. And then you had that, and you were successful at the end.
Thank you. That's great. So the first challenge is finding the right support to help you because you did interview quite a lot of people. But in terms of the guidelines, you saw that that was a bit of a challenge as well in applying. So and minimizing the risk and having the quality check. The
I mean,
the
the first thing I think everyone is doing, just upload the documents to one of the AIs and ask the roadmap, and it says certainly, oh, this is a great approach. Here's what you are going to do, but it is not like that.
Yeah, I mean, AI can help for some things, but the AI can get it wrong as well. And yeah, and that's good that you did that because obviously that's where a lot of people start. Interestingly enough, in the guidelines, the technician guidelines, they tell you not to use AI in any of your documents because they have an AI checker as
I
well.
mean,
Um,
although they say, I mean, let's admit everyone tries.
yeah, everyone still tries. Yeah. Now, in terms of the time, was that an issue for you as well because you wanted to move your company over quickly, or
Uh,
move over quickly?
we had an agenda, but I think I was not late. I mean, we started discussing the early last year. My latest time was the end of summer.
Mm,
That's why
yeah,
we didn't accelerate the process, but the process kind of went smoothly. And at the end of the summer, we
yeah.
got the visa. It was not so fast, but it was partially it was due to me as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, work does get in the way and lots of things, and also relying on experts. That's something that you can't control. You can control, preparing all your documents, but relying on experts, it's out of your control. So it was good that you didn't have like an unrealistic deadline. Your deadline was achievable, which was
Yeah.
really good. It's sometimes it is you do get a bit of project fatigue as well. Sometimes where it's like, oh my gosh, more documents, but it's normal. It is normal. Okay, so let's have a look at your documents and finding and talk about your experts because the guidelines provide that you need three experts from three different organizations that talk about three different things about you. And it is really hard. I mean, maybe you can find one or two, but the third one can be quite tricky. And especially since you're so high level, you've got such a senior role, finding people who are experts like you, but aren't your colleagues. But it is hard to find. But we found three for you. And can you talk us through the types of experts that you ended up choosing?
Uh, Actually, at the beginning, I had different names in my mind because of this much years of experience, you can have referral from many different
Mm.
profiles. Uh, I mean, the high-tech entrepreneurs, venture capital fund managers, even politicians. I mean,
Yeah.
you have that networks. The, what at the end, what I saw, uh, I mean, or what where we ended up was completely different. So
Yeah.
my first three, five names were eliminated, and then with you, we decided on three other names, and we got their referrals, and
Yeah.
it has proven to be right.
Yeah. So you had an investor for one.
In terms of
Yeah.
profiles, one
Yeah.
was a mentor and also investor and a colleague as well from venture capital industry who's older than me, but we spent years with him. One problem was the relevance of the timing of the experience because it shouldn't have been
Mm.
more than 5 years old. That was one
Yeah.
problem, and it shouldn't have been less than 1 years or 2 years old. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah. Yeah, there was a small window. Yes,
yeah,
correct.
that was tricky.
Yeah, yeah.
The other one was an investor, but still not just investor, someone from the tech industry, very strong profile, but also an investor. And third
Mm.
uh, was one of the professionals or executives working in our startup whom he worked with me for years, but he had his own uh, very strong tech industry and startup experience as well. So that
Yeah,
was a combination of startup
yeah.
and venture capital industry preferences.
Yeah, because you have VC and startup experience, so your experts should resonate and talk to those experiences that you have and who you are now.
That was my case. So I had a combination of both venture capital and a founder.
Yeah, yeah, and that was perfect. That really did suit your application, also, corroborated the evidence that we provided in your application. So those were the experts that we took care of. And how about the criteria? Because there's 5 criteria, and we need to select 3 out of the 5. So the leadership criteria is one that you have to select, which showcases your national and international recognition. So we had to select that one.
It was one of the areas that you led us actually, because except scientific part, I mean, I'm not a researcher. Uh, I might have relevance in or references from the other 4, and maybe I would have been choosing different 3. So we chose right 3 with you.
Yeah. So it was leadership, OC2, which is the voluntary contributions
Yeah.
outside of your work that advances the tech sector. So it's very similar to the leadership criteria.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
in voluntary parts, I have been involved in several activities, seminars,
Mm.
contributed in my industry through workshops. But we had to eliminate a few of them. For example, the organizer just covered my the travel expenses, and then it was not falling to the criteria. So I didn't know such things. Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, so they have to be, yeah, usually it's unpaid work, and anything that's paid, it can raise some issues. So we want to steer clear from any paid work. We want to show that, you're volunteering through this sector. And you had so many. It was a process of elimination for you, really, is
I
what
mean,
you did and
not
what fits
being
the
paid
guidelines.
in my eyes is different on paper.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely. So for MC, we had some, obviously you did some loads of speaking gigs. So we had to pick which ones applied to the leadership criteria and which ones applied to the OC2, the voluntary contributions. You had some really good awards as well, as an investor.
At least recognitions, let's say. I mean, our space is not competitive. I mean, competition-based place, but
Yeah.
yeah, we were able to use our personal affiliations in uh, institutions, in industry-specific organizations. So we got some reference letters from those international organizations as well.
Yeah. And then having being awarded some deals because you, as an investor, you had some deals that
Yes,
you
I mean, in
you got
terms
over
of
the line.
returns and the company's growth rates,
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
among the top X fastest growing or top X nice businesses. So we used those
Yeah.
references made by the other parties.
Definitely. And it was great to find them because, and actually listed your name so we could, prove obviously that you were involved in those deals.
Luckily, my name were
Mm.
there. It's because it is always a teamwork. I mean, it's not just
Yes.
a single person thing, but
Yeah.
we're able to pinpoint
Yeah.
my name in those documents.
Absolutely. And then the third criteria that we chose for you was the significant technical, commercial, and entrepreneurial contributions, which is the impact.
Yeah.
So we had to focus on the impact that you made to the startups and the product-led companies that you were involved with.
Since we were, I mean, in that specific uh, criteria, we used my fintech company in terms of fintech tech part. So we focused on the technology or the IP in the company, how I contributed,
Mm.
how was I instrumental in the development of that. I'm not a computer engineer, but
Mm.
I was instrumental in the design and the development and the leadership part. So we were able to, I guess, reflect that involvement. But for again, although you have been involved, the materializing the proof of that is very hard. So we had several discussions on how to achieve
Yes.
that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, people did a lot of things and you did a lot of things. It was finding the evidence to corroborate and also third-party evidence and then letters from startups that could, explain how you were involved. And it's just, it's proving it. It's a
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
Because the assessors aren't meeting you. They can only go by what you're producing to them. So you have to really be picky about what kinds of evidence you're providing. Sometimes we can't provide the evidence because there isn't evidence. So, you had some great examples, but we couldn't provide them. Another thing that is interesting is you did a lot more speaking opportunities while we were in the process, but the guidelines provide that anything recent we
Yeah.
can't submit. So unfortunately, you were doing them anyway, which was fine. So I said, go ahead and do it but for the purposes of global talent, we can't submit them because they're too close to application submission time. So that was yeah. You had a lot. I had to tell you to stop speaking sometimes. So, no.
Maybe, I mean, although you don't put those in your application,
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know how the evaluators are doing their job, but certainly I think they're uh, doing kind of web search,
yeah,
looking at LinkedIn profiles. So
definitely.
uh, uh, I think it doesn't hurt to have
It
such.
doesn't hurt. Correct. Yes. And we can put them still in your CV and we can put them on your LinkedIn and we can still do it. It's just what they mean is obviously you had a proven track record of consistent speaking. It's really for those who haven't spoken, haven't done anything, and all of a sudden they're doing it right before submission time. And that's, that's not acceptable. But whereas with you, you were always speaking, so that was okay. Okay, so those were all your experts and the documents, and we provided 15 pieces of evidence, which was a big bundle at the end of the day, which was great. And I hope, I don't know what you expected, to submit at the time you started the
I mean,
process. Were you?
I was expecting the day after approval.
Oh, yes, you're expecting to be approved straight away. I know you should have been, but look, let's talk about the timing.
Yeah.
Well, I like to structure my clients' documents so that they can be approved quickly because it's all laid out. It's all ready to go. Unfortunately, when we submitted, that was when TechNation changed their whole process.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you would have been in the 3 to 27 hour success rate timing. But yeah, so when did you submit? It was in July.
It was, I think, mid-July or early July, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
early
And
July.
then,
So
yeah,
we had
and
to
then,
wait for 8 weeks until the very end of the period without any no or yes answer.
I know that was the disappointing thing because TechNation, they have to review 80% of applications within 3 to 4 weeks. But the remaining 20% they have to review be within 8 weeks. Unfortunately, you fell in that 8 week, and was it the last day?
No, I mean the
They went
8 week
over.
just ended. Then I
Yeah,
sent a message to them, what's going on? Can you look at it? And the day after, the results came positive.
brilliant.
Maybe there was a glitch. I don't know.
Yeah, there could have been a glitch because that was that moment when they changed their systems. But that was amazing. Like it was such after the lengthy process of the 4 month preparation, and then 2 months of waiting, and then you received it. But then tell us about stage two. So once you've got the endorsement, you can apply for stage two visa.
Then we chose the accelerated process. I mean, yeah, it was a bit costly, but within 2 days, I got. I mean, the appointment has been taken in 3 days. Plus, after appointment in 2 days, I got my visa, or even the same day. I'm sorry, even the same
Wow.
day. At the appointment day, I got my visa.
Wow. That's good. That's
Yeah,
really good. Yeah. No more waiting. The 8 weeks was
yeah,
enough.
because of that 2 months. I said no more now.
Yeah,
It's
let's do it. No, fair play, fair play. So that was great. You did the expedited and you got it very quickly. When I did mine, I think I at the time there was no expedited, but I got mine within 2 weeks of just applying anyway. But now it's it's
by the way,
it's hard.
I did it from Turkey. Maybe that
Oh,
another reason why it was faster, not from UK.
yes, yes. I heard it can be faster. Okay, so that's great. I mean, geez, September. So you've had the visa for a good nearly 6 months now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so now that you've been through the process and last year was a big year for you, what advice would you give to others that are in this situation where they're looking at applying?
Uh, it- as you would suggest as well, I mean, start preparing, planning early. Uh, Learn the requirements, and if some evidence is missing, start building that evidence, because evidences can be built as well. I mean, if you have the substance, uh, that's the primary advice. Other than that, this is a very good uh, visa option among the others. I
Yeah,
mean, I like the benefits of it.
yeah, definitely. And how about speaking engagements? Would you like to advise them to start, with their public profile because you were already doing it, which was a good thing. But if you didn't have
Uh,
it,
I mean, a few rules. Don't be sponsored, number one.
mm,
Try to pick international events if possible. Try to be a panelist rather than the host, being host. And also take a lot of pictures. You need evidence. A lot of pictures showing thousands of people, if possible, listening you.
is that
Not,
something you learned off me, Tim?
not just a few people.
Is that something you learned off me?
Yeah,
The one
you
thing
were
you learned
asking
off me
those
was take
questions. So
pictures.
I was bringing you the picture, and then you were asking how many visitors there. Is there a better view angle?
Yes, yes, I'm glad because that is important. It's very important. I know it's a small thing and we're laughing about it, but it's optics. It's
Yeah,
optics, because again, the assessor doesn't know you. They don't know what the events are, but pictures tell 1,000 words.
yeah.
Yeah, and I know I've been through the process, so I know. So that's great. Okay, thank you so much. That's very, very good advice. And now, what does the visa mean for you now, and what are your exciting plans?
I mean, everything. We're lucky that everything is going as planned, both business and life. Uh, I mean, I'm so happy being here. I'm frequently visiting Istanbul as well. I mean, our
Yeah.
business there is going as well. It's going very well as well. But uh, London, UK, is bringing a lot of business opportunities, life opportunities, and contrary to other people, I mean, saying that they don't like rain and cold, I so far I like it.
Yeah, coming from a hot country, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. That's really nice. And it is nice, like we chatted before, how when you went into the UK and had your visa and they said to you, welcome home. So it sounds like you have
yeah.
two
I
homes
mean,
now.
that's remarkable. Maybe I mean it's like, but it has been more than once. At the airport, at the passport checkpoint, I mean, the officers uh, uh, were saying me, "Welcome home." That was so nice to hear.
Yeah, it is nice. And but being a migrant, it is hard because you have two homes, and
Yeah,
sometimes you don't know where you are,
yeah, I
which is
didn't hear
home. But
this in my original home.
Yeah. They know you. They know you're from there. But
Exactly,
yes,
probably. I don't know.
yeah, no, it is nice because when you're in Turkey, you say you're going home, but which home is that? Is it the UK or yeah? So I get that as well. When I'm in Australia, I say home, but I mean Ireland. But when I'm in Ireland, I say home, I mean Australia. But that's the life of a migrant. But it is lovely that we have two homes
Yeah, yeah.
now. Yeah, and Yeah, I just wanted to wish you all the best and thank you so much. Does
Thank you,
anyone have
Michelle.
any questions? I do have a question, but I can answer that after Chem. But does anyone have any other questions for Chem? Or even give him an emoji or something, a congratulations, because it is a very hard process to go through. And only those who've gone through it understand the challenges that one faces. And this is why I introduced my clients to each other because but Chem's so busy starting his whole new business and doing all sorts of things. But it is you are a great addition to the UK, and it was an absolute pleasure working with you and your team. And oh look, we got some emojis, Chem. And yeah, it is something special. I think the government has said that you are an exceptional talent and they want you to be in the UK and they welcome you to the UK because you've had such great achievements in Turkey, but now you're flying already,
Thank you very much.
and you're very humble. No one ever thinks that they are, exceptionally talented. I don't like that word because I don't, it doesn't sit right with me. But as long as you do your work, you have some good achievements, and you make impact and show leadership, that's what it is really. It's who you are really
Yeah,
within.
I mean, it's just the name of the program.
Yeah, it is. It's just the name of the program, but a huge accolade anyway. No one can take that away from you now. But yeah, but just everyone's what are they saying? Congratulations.
Thank you very much to
Great. Yeah,
everyone, by the way.
I
I
will
mean,
let you go because
everyone's application process goes smooth and will be successful.
okay. Thank you so much, Chem. I really appreciate it. See more emojis.
Right.
And I will speak to you again soon, but I'll let you go now so you can start your
All
other
right.
meetings.
Have a good day to everyone.
Thank you.
Good luck. Bye bye.
Bye. That was really nice. Thank you guys for the emojis. I really love it. It is so nice of Chem to, you can see he's so busy, but he agreed to do this with me. And it's, all my clients who I work with, not all of them agree to come on my webinar to share their story. And Chem is one of those that I didn't really want to ask because he is so busy, but he's so generous with his time. As you can see, he's got plenty of time for startups and it's within his nature to share his knowledge and expertise and insights. So thank you so much for making him feel welcome and thank you for the emojis. Let's have a look. I'll answer some questions now if that's okay because I've got the questions open and then I'll just go through the rest of my webinar if that's okay. Usually I do it the other way around, but because Chem is busy, I decided to do it this way. So um, okay, so there's a question about I help a lot of people, especially partners. Okay, so I have husband and wife team, boyfriend girlfriend team, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. So I do help people, couples who come to me and say, look, we both work in the tech sector. Can you review both our profiles and tell us which one is the best one to apply? And then obviously put the best one forward. And then the backup is if they don't get it, then the other partner applies. I do that a lot. So yes, definitely reach out to me and then I can have a meeting with one of you first or both of obviously I would like to talk to one of you first with the other one listening because we have to focus on one first and then I'll speak to the other one and then obviously answer the questions. So then we can decide as a team which one applies first. So yes, I do get that question a lot and I have helped many do that. So, and it's great because you're increasing your chances. There's two of you, and then you've got a backup plan, which is fantastic. Okay, so so I have also helped people with PhDs. So definitely contact me and we can discuss. I've helped, yeah, I've helped quite a few people with PhDs, and then a lot of people who've done MBAs as well. Someone's asking about audit trails or document signatures. Audit trails should be submitted. I have seen applications where there aren't any audit trails, so and that's okay, but I just need to see what exactly it is that you're submitting. So if we can take this offline, I can have a look. And then reference letters from international government authorities. Not I wouldn't put them under experts because those experts need, well, dependent on your relationship with them and if they are well known in the tech sector. So it's not really their title as such that matters, but everything matters. It's do they have the same kind of skill as you because they have to vouch for you and your expertise? If they are a government authority, what is their background and how do they know that you are an expert in your field? So that's a tricky one. I don't know until, obviously we discuss it a little bit further, but what they want is someone to vouch for your expertise, and talk about you overall as a leader with national and international recognition. How did you work with them, and what did you do to make impact to their cause as well? And what are your plans in the UK? So government authorities, sometimes they are bound by the rules of the government in terms of writing letters, personal letters for people. So that might be an added restriction or limitation because, I've had people working for companies where they can't write on behalf of their employer, which is the government, but they can write personal letters. So that's a challenge that can be overcome. So we need to discuss that further. Um, how many days? Okay, that's an immigration question. So the question is, how many days can you stay outside of the UK during the global talent visa, which doesn't affect the ILR? I'm talking from my experience because I had to apply for ILR. This is not legal advice, but I think it's 180 days per year that you have to remain in the country or something like that. So there is a limit on how many days you can spend outside the UK that doesn't affect your ILR. I think it's 180 days from memory, but please do double check that. Otherwise, you're going to have to extend your global talent visa for your time. So speak to a lawyer, immigration lawyer, about your ILR conditions for as a global talent visa um, recipient. Okay. You're a software engineer. I don't know if my eligibility. Yes, Joseph, I can help you. So on my website, michellehewer.co.uk, have a look at my eligibility questionnaire, and then I can assess you there. Would you like me to start my webinar quickly? Hang on. Okay. So that is Cem. So I'll quickly go through the global talent visa. You do know that it's a special visa. There's a stage 1 process with technician, and then stage 2 is the visa stage. It is more than a job application. As you can see, Cem had loads of interesting examples and evidence that he provided in addition. So it's not just about what you do in your day-to-day job, but it's also about what you contribute to the UK tech sector as well. You can live and work in the UK for up to 5 years. You can apply for indefinite leave to remain and citizenship. You can switch from your skilled worker to global talent, and your time in the UK counts. You can also bring your dependents with you, register a UK limited company, work for a tech company without the need for a company sponsorship. It's attached to you, so that's a great thing. You don't have to worry about, anyone helping you. It's your visa. I had my visa for my startup, but then I got opportunities to work for a university and a UK accelerator, and there was no problem. I just stopped working on my startup, worked for the university. I covered a maternity leave position, and then I also worked for a UK accelerator because, I just wanted a break from my startup, and I could, and it didn't really matter because I had my own visa. There are people from 90 different countries that apply for the visa. There's a 40% endorsement rate now, and over the years, there's been about 5,000 plus successful recipients. It doesn't seem like a lot of endorsements, but when I applied, and I only up to about 3 or 4 years ago, there was a cap on endorsements. So if you can imagine, that's even more stressful. So when I applied, they only allow 200 people to get the visa every year, which is crazy. So not only do you have to meet the criteria, you have to fall under that 200 cap, but a few years ago, they released that cap. They said so many people are applying, and there shouldn't be a cap. So they got removed the cap. So now there's unlimited endorsements. You just need to fulfill the criteria. As I said, there's a 65-35 for talent and promise, 75-25 for male and female ratio. And then once you do get the visa, you can join the Tech Nation Visa Alumni, which I'm a part of. But then obviously, if I help you, you join my alumni. These are the different stats for countries and by skills. So obviously these countries up here, they have a lower endorsement rate, but these are just stats. So I help a lot of people from these countries, but then there's higher stats in these countries. As you can see, even though it's a Tech Nation visa, and it's for people working in the tech sector, I mean, people in the business roles and skills can apply as well, and they do get endorsed. So you can see some of the stats there, and then the different sectors that people are working in. AI is huge, obviously, fintech, obviously, because it's London, that a lot of people want to move to. So fintech is huge there. AI, machine learning, data, all that, health tech, ed tech sectors, they're the ones that why people want to move to the UK and go into those sectors. 1 in 3 have software engineering skills. So again, there was a software engineering question. And then 1 in 4 are founders. I was quite surprised by this. I thought there'll be more founders applying for the visa, but because I was one. But this visa is open, or the Global Talent Visa is open for founders and employees of tech companies, and actually more employees are applying than founders. These are just some of the stats over the years of how many applicants there have been. So in February this year, there were about 3,500 applicants. And as you can imagine, with a 40% endorsement rate, less than half are being endorsed. But as you can see, over the years, it has grown. Lots of applicants. It's highly competitive now, which is why it's so important to have a very strong application. Put your best foot forward. You can definitely do it yourself, which, I encourage anyone, but my support is here if you need. I do help a lot of people who do it themselves the first time, just to see, obviously. And then if they are unsuccessful, they come to me, and then we see if there is an opportunity for resubmission based off the feedback that the assessors have given. So, that's a good thing, is that if you do resubmit, at least you have some feedback. And I work a lot, with people who have had that feedback that gives us, extra clues on how to make your application stronger. And I do have a very high success rate with the second time around because we've got feedback. I applied in 2016, so I was in the top 50. But again, as I said, not many people knew about it. So you can see as time went on, more people knew about it, more people applying. Okay. 15 documents. You need 5 documents. Everyone needs to submit 5 of the same documents, which is CV, personal statement, and 3 letters of recommendations by experts. And then you need 10 documents, which consists of your mandatory and optional criteria. You can apply as a talent or promise candidate, and usually it's people who have more than 5 years experience go for talent. Those with less than 5 years experience go for promise. Okay, if you have more than 5 years experience, you shouldn't really apply for promise. You should apply for the right category. Otherwise, the assessors will determine that for you. Okay. Again, eligibility. First of all, you need to have a technical or business skill, and these are some of the skills that they've listed. It's not exhaustive, so just have a look at which one applies. Technical skills obviously is about product development. Business skills is about growth of the company and selling the product and marketing the product. So those are the differences. This is where Cem was unsure, because he did have experience leading a substantial VC investment over £25 million, but then he also had founder experience as well in business. So yeah, he was hybrid, but that's okay. That's how I unpack and structure applications, where if you do have 2 skills, a lot of my clients sometimes have technical skills and they move to business, or the other way around. And obviously there's a story to be told there. So I help them navigate, that transition, and then what evidence to provide. And then the ones that skills are not eligible. So I get a lot of questions about people working for consultancies like the Wipro, the Capgemini, Tata Consultancy, PwC. Unfortunately, that they're considered a consultancy, so you wouldn't be eligible. But that's only if you are currently working for a consultancy. If you did work for a consultancy in the past, you could still be eligible if you work for product-led digital technology companies and meet the criteria. So again, this is why I assess eligibility. So have a look at my website and then I can assess your eligibility and then you can start the process. So product-led digital technology company is very, very important because in the criteria, if you are eligible, you need to provide evidence of when you were working for a product-led digital technology company. So they're very big on products, okay? And these are proprietary products that your company is developing, not internal products for your own company use, but for selling or by license or subscription or selling to your customers. So this is a huge you need to meet this first. And if it's a gray area, you need to convince the assessor that yes, your company is product led and why first more than anything else. So this is the criteria. So you go for talent or promise. The mandatory criteria is leadership. So this is you need to provide 3 or 4 examples of leadership, and then you need to choose 2 out of 4 options. And for Cem, it was 2 and 3 that he chose. For me, this was all different. Leadership was not mandatory when I applied, even though I did choose it. It was optional, but I did choose the academic contributions one because during my startup, I worked with a university, so we collaborated, and then I also chose number 2 and leadership here as well. At the time, there were 6 criteria. Now there's only 5. So you pick this one, and then the best out of 2 out of 4. And then you need at least 3 documents per criteria, which takes it up to 9. And then the 10th document, just add another document against one of the criteria you've already chosen. So pick the stronger criteria. Okay. Okay, the process is stage 1, step 1, you apply online at the Home Office, so you pay your fee, your 561. Step 2 is you email your documents to Home Office, and this is where Cem, the issue with Cem, where they changed the process. Before you uploaded it to a portal and it was a quicker process, but now you just email all your 15 documents to the Home Office and then they send it to TechNation to review. There is no portal anymore, which is a shame because that was a great system. When I applied, I had to actually physically print out all my documents and send it to Sheffield, and that was yeah. So this is okay. Then they have up to 8 weeks to respond. Average time is 3 to 4 weeks, and then they tell you if you're successful or unsuccessful. If you are unsuccessful, you can appeal. So you've got 28 calendar days to appeal, and they've got 28 calendar days to respond. I help a lot with appeals with people who have done it themselves or ask other consultants to help them. And there is a strategy in appealing. Either, obviously you appeal because the assessor made a mistake and you want the decision overturned. And then that's one strategy. The second strategy is you appeal so that maybe you can get more feedback and clarity around your application, so you can get 2 sets of feedback if you are unsuccessful again. But yeah, so if you do appeal, you can either be successful and then you go to stage 2. If you appeal, you are unsuccessful again, unsuccessful at the appeal, obviously you can think about resubmission or other visa routes. So if you are successful either at the appeal or at the first stage of the process, you go to stage 2, and that's the Home Office visa application stage. I don't help with this stage because it's a visa stage. I only help with stage 1, which is the endorsement stage. This is I think it's about £200 for the application. You do your biometrics. You've got the immigration health surcharge, which you have to pay up front. So if you've got 5 years you want to stay in the UK, that's 5 years times 1,000, which is a lot. But you know that it's a good investment because you've got the endorsement. So it's a matter of the cost, and you don't have to worry that you're not going to get it back because you have got the endorsement. You will. It's just the payment. And again, this can take 3 to 8 weeks, but obviously there's an expedited process, and you pay, and obviously you can get the decision quicker, so you can get your visa quicker. Okay. I help with all these questions. Are you eligible? How do you present your documents? What's relevant? Who are your experts? How do you show your innovations and impact? How do you show leadership? How much experience do you need? Appealing. Yeah. So I help with all of those things. Again, this is my website. You can have a look. There's loads of resources on there, and lots of videos and success stories, blogs, and the eligibility is the big one. So fill that out there. My top tips after doing this for 10 years as a coach and as a recipient: this is your chance to tell your unique story. Your tech network is your net worth. They say you need to produce 3 letters of recommendation. When I help my clients, we submit about 6 or 7 letters in addition, altogether. So in addition to your 3, we usually have another 3 or 4. This process is about self-promotion, so you need to highlight your achievements and strengths. Being eligible is one thing. Meeting the criteria requires a whole strategy in putting together all 15 documents. And please contact me sooner rather than later. Preparation is key, because there's no point doing things and wasting time. Come to me early, and I can direct and guide you, and then you can go off, so that whatever you're doing is for the purposes of the visa or not. And I can review before you submit. Assessors also don't click on links. Don't click on links. They don't click on links. The only thing is, if you have an important piece of information, take a screenshot and then source the link so they know where that screenshot came from. Okay, so that's the only reason why you would put links. I have had clients just put links everywhere, and assessors don't click on them, so then they can't read your application properly. These are some of my packages of support. I have online courses, which is my leadership course, and that's been very popular because leadership is mandatory and it takes time to build. You're already doing the job that you're doing, so I know you're going to have evidence of your impact of the job and leadership within your company because you're already doing that. Whereas leadership, external leadership to showcase your national and international recognition, that takes time to build. So I have a course about that. Then I have some resources that if you do want to do it yourself, I have templates and things like that. If you want to book in a strategy session where we have basically a 2.5 hour session looking at where you're at and figuring out what and who are your experts, what documents are you going to submit, what evidence are you going to put against each criteria. It requires a whole strategy in place, and then you can step back and say, okay, this is my plan. Now I need to structure and develop all my documents for submission. I can review your documents, which includes a strategy session, and then my premium coaching package, which a lot of people choose. That's one-to-one end-to-end support for stage 1, and I'm with you every step of the way. This is what I did with Cem. We worked together for nearly 4 months, and basically every week we had a meeting to discuss the documents. I'll edit, structure it, make sure it's all in line with the guidelines, and making sure all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed, because it really is about making sure everything is detailed so the assessors don't need to have any questions, because there are no questions. They can't ask questions. They can only provide feedback, which is a no or tick you, and I want them to tick you to be successful. And then I have appeals support as well. I have a lot of resources on my YouTube channel, which this webinar is going to be on. So please feel free to jump onto my YouTube channel as well. This webinar is recorded, so I will send a newsletter out tomorrow to give you access to my webinar if you wanted to look back on it. My website obviously has a lot of resources as well. So that's it really. I'm going to go through some of the questions, but I hope you found this webinar useful. I really, really enjoy having my clients come on, because they tell you their story. You can see, that some people are successful and how they were and what challenges they face as well, because this can be a lonely process. I remember doing mine like it was yesterday, even though it was 10 years ago. I was building my startup while doing this, while being scared, because I had an entrepreneur's visa that was expiring. So I didn't sleep for 3 months because I was trying to do this application alongside building my startup, being scared that I was going to be deported because my visa was expiring. And it is really scary because it's about your whole future. It wouldn't be so bad moving back to Australia, but I had been in the UK for 3 years and was building my life, and to leave because of visa issues is, and it's not your choice. I understand it is difficult. Um, so yeah, so if someone wants to reach out to me, just email me at techvisa@michellehewer.co.uk. So if you have a look at the chat, I've got my email there. So definitely, or fill in my eligibility questionnaire on my website, and then I can book you in for a discovery call. I offer free discovery, 15-minute discovery calls once you fill in my eligibility questionnaire. So then I'll invite you. Okay. Um, Anyone else? Questions? I did have loads of questions. Oh, what was my startup about? Okay. Um, I developed, my idea was to develop wearable tech, heated gloves. So basically, at that time, wearable tech and IoT 10 years ago was very in, and it kind of still is. Obviously, I exited the startup, but basically, I wanted a glove that would have temperature sensors that would heat up, and there were so many things that I had to consider, and battery obviously was the biggest issue, but also the materials in which it would be heated. So it was quite innovative because I was using a special substance called graphene, and graphene was discovered in Manchester. And I was working with universities to use graphene for the heating element. So I used that as part of my application to showcase, obviously why needed to be in the UK. I was already building a startup. I had a lot of, speaking gigs and marketing, and also traction in terms of developing the product, working with universities to help, research into it. So I did it to a point where it actually did work. But it kind of took a long time to get there. So I think it took me about 6 years to get there. And when it worked, I kind of lost a bit of puff in that I I got project fatigue, and also at the same time I was building this global talent visa coach business, and I sought more enjoyment out of helping people with the visa than I did with the product development of my gloves, because I got it to the point where I knew graphene would work, and it did work. And at that point I was like, I'm done. I did what I set out to do. Maybe I didn't get to sell it and bring it to market, but I did. I was able to prove that graphene did work, and it was a great process. But then in through that, I found another passion, which was the global talent visa coaching. It also brought me back to my background, which is law. I studied and worked as a lawyer in Australia. So advocacy work, which is, obviously helping clients with whatever issue they have, and being their source of, being their voice and helping them with whatever issues they're having. That's what I love to do. And that brought me to this. So I did really enjoy my startup, and that's how I learned a lot about the startup ecosystem, and that's why I know about obviously Manchester, Newcastle, and London, and met loads of people along the way. So that kind of helped me obviously help you guys in the tech sector as well. Thank you for that question. Yeah, it was a great journey. I was in a lot of tech publications. I was doing a lot of conferences. I was speaking at a lot of conferences. I was interviewed a lot, interviewed by the Sunday Times. I was a judge at a hackathon, an IoT hackathon. So, doing all that kind of gave me great exposure to what was going on in the tech industry, and allowed me to be the wearable tech expert because I was living and breathing it, and I was sharing everything that I was learning. So someone's asked about, and thank you so much for the question. Someone's asking me about experts from what countries. So in Jem's case, he had experts from Turkey. And that's okay, because it is common to have experts in your own countries. If you have experts in the UK, then definitely use them. But it depends on your relationship with them. I would pick someone over, someone from the UK if you have a better relationship with someone in your own home country. Don't get too fixated that it has to be in the UK. It's something that we would explore together and pick. And unfortunately, we have to rate your experts to see which one's the best one, because they don't just assess you, they assess your experts as well. So yeah, as Jem said, he had all these other experts that he thought about, but when in talking to me, we prioritized all the people that could help him, and we ended up choosing experts that he didn't think that we would choose. Okay, how do you prove they're experts? That's a good question. So it's almost like you. How do you prove that you're an expert in your field? Basically, I want you to Google yourself and Google your experts, because having a public profile, and if your experts are speaking at conferences talking about trends in industry, being interviewed, being asked about their knowledge and insights and expertise, then they're considered experts in technicians' eyes, because other people are asking them for advice and guidance. Your expert should have a public profile. If they don't, there has to be a reason for that. So I've had investors as experts, and yes, investors are usually under the radar, but obviously you need to showcase their expertise and experience and have their CV attached and tell a story about them to show that they are an expert. So not only do they should have a public profile, but if they don't, there should be a good reason for it. As I said, investors usually are under the radar, so they are good reasons to not be public. But most of the experts that we pick are public, and we have to, obviously explain why they are an expert. I hope that helps. This is why, your public profile is important. Your expert's public profile is important, because you don't want the assessors to, question anything. That they should trust your application needs to be credible. They can search your experts that can search you, so they know that what you're saying is authentic and credible and genuine. Um, any other questions? I don't have any other questions. No. Okay. I hope that's it. What are the backgrounds? Sorry, last question. The backgrounds of the assessors, they are experts, which Technation have selected. So they could be people, they are definitely people from the tech sector in the UK. So they can be lawyers, they can be investors, they can be founders, they can be advisors, but obviously, and they can be technical people, business people. So obviously, from what I know, they try to triage all the applications and pick the expert that's, or the assessors that closely match your skills and expertise, because obviously they need to understand your application, and hopefully they will, if you're technical, they'll send it to a technical person. If you're business, they'll send it to a business person. So that's from what I've learned over the years. Technation have a bank of assessors, like people to assess applications, who are well known in the tech sector and experts in the tech sector themselves. Um, does working for a company that builds several products for users as well as customers help you scale? Yeah, so so as long as it's a company that develops products, then that would be considered a product led, and those products are their own products. It's proprietary, for users as well as companies help. Yeah, I hope I've answered that correctly. Um, yeah, so as long as it's product led companies. Any do they? Yeah. So one last question. Sorry, I'm gonna have to go. Um, Yes, so this is why it's really important to have your application as structured, clear, concise as possible, because there is no interview. There are no questions about your application. It's either yes or no. If it's a no, here's the feedback and here's the reason. That's it. And then if it's a no, they provide you with those reasons. And if you do appeal, you can't provide, new information. You just have to say, well, the assessor made a mistake because in my application it's here, but they missed it. So this is why it's so important that when you're investing all your time in this, get it right the first time, because if you do appeal, if you are unsuccessful, the only chance is appeal, which takes time. And then if you resubmit because you've missed something, it's a few months of not wasting, but like, you've let it go for a few months and then you have to redo it again. And a lot of my clients, they're not mentally able for that again. I know, because I don't know if I could have done it again if I got a rejection. Like, it's one of those things that if you are on a deadline, get some help. If you do have a lot of time, then that's okay. But think about, okay, if I am unsuccessful, do I have the mental capacity to do it again? And it's a big one. So a lot of my clients, if they have done it themselves, they really have to muster up the mental, capabilities if they do want to go again. But the difference in the first and second application is the first time they did it themselves, no support, or support from maybe their friends. But if they come and work with me the second time, I'm an expert. I know exactly what is needed and we have feedback. So the second time around would be different, would be um, more supportive, and you have help the second time around. So they're the main differences when I help people the second time around is, you know, you've got support this time. Let's go for it. If you are unsuccessful, we have feedback. So it's not like you're doing it again by yourself. Okay. So yeah, it is important to try and get it right the first time. And I can't stress this enough. And a lot of people submit and then, or don't get it reviewed, and then they submit. And then when I look at their application, I'm like, I wish you had seen me before you submitted, because I could have caught a lot of things that would may have saved your application. But look, it really is up to you when you want to submit. If you've done everything and it's all done, I'm like, I don't really think I should tell you to change anything because you've worked so hard on it. It's up to you if you want my support and change things once you've already done it. So this is why preparing early and coming to me early stops you from being in that predicament. Okay, so I would love to now end this. I would love any emojis again. I love these emojis because that's all I get to see, and it's quick and it just floats up on my screen. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up, or, clap. I love it. I love all these emojis. That's what keeps me going to help you with this process, because I know what it's like. It is very difficult. It's challenging. Um, yeah, it's all those words, but as migrants, it's something that we experience and we have to experience if we want to live in another country. And it makes us better people, I think. You know, I'm so grateful, even though it was really hard at the time, to have gone through this, because it made me reflect on my 3 years of working in the UK, and I would never have done it otherwise. And it made me, document everything. Documents are so important. And taking photos of speaking gigs and speaking at these big events, and it's so important. And also reaching out to experts. It was a way of connecting with them and asking for their support and working with them to help you um, submit, and then celebrating with them at the end. Because if you have some good people around you, having their support is what keeps you going. As a startup founder, it's a lonely process. Building your own. I was a sole founder, and having the right mentors. I had a great mentor. I had an expert that, coincidentally, she was the head of Tech Nation, who supported me in my process as well, because up in Manchester, she was head of Tech Nation in the north of England, and she helped me with it, even though there was no conflict, because she was the head, but she was no longer the head when I asked her for support, but she did support me. So having the support is so useful. Yeah, and then obviously my support hopefully will enhance your application. Okay, so I'm going to leave it here. I can talk all day, but I won't. It was lovely to have you. Thank you so much for your coming, for your time, and please do email me if you have any questions, and then or eligibility, and then I can help you further. Okay, I'm gonna leave it here. Bye. Thanks for coming. Have a great day.